All right, everyone, this is Warren Edwards, and this is Create Matter. And I had the pleasure of having Steve Daniels. And I just want to have a brief talk with him about his artistic journey, about what art means to him, and how it can raise consciousness in humanity. So, Steve, tell us something about your art and yourself.
So, thank you for having me, first of all. And what I would like to say about my artwork is that my artwork comes from a long lineage of family history,
Okay.
starting with my grandmother who immigrated to the States
From where?
from Poland.
Okay.
So she came from Poland by boat in 1970s. She helped sponsor a lot of families to come to Greenpoint, Brooklyn.
Okay.
And a big part of what she believed in was faith. And she had a big faith in Jesus and Christianity. That was her upbringing. And when I was born with a really rare intestinal disease, which led me to being at the world's largest hospital for children in Canada.
Okay.
And over there, when I was undergoing all my surgeries, they handed me my first set of crayons.
Okay.
So that's when I started drawing and painting. When I started visiting my grandmother, I was 7 years old, and that's when I walked into the museum for the first time. It's written on my shirt over here.
Oh, okay. So you have a special affinity to that particular museum.
Yes, I do. It's the museum that I first stepped into as a little boy that I got to witness that adults were doing artwork for their lives. It wasn't just something that kids do.
Right.
And I continued doing my art, and after I left the museum, I always held it in my heart. And ever since then, I've been dedicated to a life of art.
Okay.
And I studied film at the New York Film Academy. When I was 21, I got a scholarship at the New York Film Academy. And I made a lot of films about overcoming.
Okay.
Overcoming was always been one of my main themes throughout my art. I painted my whole life, then I went into films, and I started different social initiatives in Canada. And I worked on different social initiatives here in the States. I raised over $100,000 through my art for the hospital that saved my life, and I donated funds to the virtual arts therapy program so that kids, while they're undergoing surgery, they can get their minds off the pain.
Okay.
And they could just focus on art and specifically what they're seeing in the virtual reality world.
Okay. So when you visited this particular museum for the first time, how did it feel?
It felt larger than life. It felt like, you see it, it's big, it's huge, it's the most beautiful building, I think, in New York City. It's really special. It was built by Frank Lloyd Wright, which is the most famous American architect, which had also a really big life and story of overcoming.
Okay.
And he built this in his latter years. It's his masterpiece, and I saw it as that. I always felt in my life like, how can I give back, and how could I share, create stories about overcoming and interjecting faith into that. So that's why I have the name, the tattoo on my head, which is Jesus, the name of the museum. And it's not necessarily a story about Jesus, but it's just a story about how if you have faith in good things will come from that. And so you have to act good. You have to act accordingly in life.
Okay.
In order for good things to come. And I always thought that bringing together faith and art has a lot of power. And you don't necessarily have to be of a certain denomination to see that, because the story of Jesus is a story that relates to, I believe, all humanity. It's one of the most important figures in human history.
Yes.
So I just see it as something that, do good things and good things will come, and I always wanted that to collide with art.
So, Step, let me ask you this. Now, you have that tattoo. So how has the faith and creativity transferred into your artwork?
Well, I mean, in many ways, I've done all kinds of different performance art and all kinds of different paintings. But I think the biggest way that it's crossed over into my art was specifically when I created Canada's largest group skydiving event, where we had nearly 100 people jumping out of airplanes, symbolizing faith and belief and overcoming. And I feel like art is not just something that hangs on the wall, but it's something that lives within us.
Oh, definitely.
And I feel that when you have 100 people that are jumping out of an airplane to showcase their faith and how they want to emulate bravery to showcase that to the children at the hospital. I think like that's one of the biggest forms of faith and art coming together with, you know, with media, social media, and just people's lives, and for a great cause.
Okay, so tell me one of your favorite pieces, something that you placed a lot of emotional energy into.
Well, most recently I created a painting that's called "From Sticks and Stones We Made Phones,"
Okay.
and it's the painting actually started being it was incepted in Union Square when I heard a group of theologians that were arguing. I'm not sure if you remember back in the day, or even now. Sometimes you have these different groups that come together and they philosophize over different figures, meanings of life, and faith, and they do that in the parks, and they were doing that. And then as they were shouting about Jesus and faith and all these different things, a man interjected, like a homeless man, I believe, and he said, "From sticks and stones we made phones." And everyone just kind of like stood there silently, and I remember like that was just like, it really stood out to me, because I was like, wow, from sticks.
And why did that stand out to you?
Because I just thought like, wow, like we come such a long way from like literally just from like cavemen, from sticks and stones. Now we have phones.
Okay.
You know, and so with that I created a painting with that title, and it's a painting about human history, starting with evolution from the story of the evolution that we know, that we've been taught, with going from ape to man.
Okay.
To then phones, and it tells the story of this history, and it showcases the ape, then that famous image of the ape, then the man getting taller, and then he's walking upright.
Yes.
And then the final images of the man holding the phone, and then from that phone comes the Mona Lisa. Out of there comes the Mona Lisa, and that Mona Lisa has been built out of 20 years of Apple, the brand Apple, their packaging for their products.
Okay.
So it was a multimedia collage piece that features all sorts of different cables, wires, Apple packaging, and it leads up to the face, which is made out of the phone. And it's I think it's like it's my best painting I've ever made, because I think it symbolizes the whole world and the whole human history.
Okay, so I just want everyone to know, this is not about religion. This is about the creative process. This is all about the faith in humanity and evolution. And we just here talking as two brothers, taking a moment to just say to each other, we're here, and we want to process everything around us, and we want to make things better. So this is Warren Edwards, this is Steve Daniels, and this is Create Matter. So go out there and create what matters. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, brother.
All right.